Okay, now my mic is working. All right, I started speaking, but my OBS reset my settings. It set my microphone to default instead of the microphone in front of me. I don't even know what default means, but I guess it means something that isn't this in front of me for whatever reason. Don't know why that is.
Engage.
Anyway, the game queue continues to be pretty crazy around here. My university semester is mostly wrapped up. I have a final for my history class around the end of the month. And I am going to need to, do a little bit of study for it. Just going to have to answer some essay questions. So I have like a general familiarity with things. It's open book. It's done online, so it's not like the kind of thing that I'm stressing out majorly over or anything like that. But it's still one last thing to wrap up with the semester. However, it is now at the point that I do have a lot more time to commit to projects around here. So I've been going ham on the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video essay, and it's like, oh, now is my chance to go ham on some projects around here. Now, the best game to commit to at this point will probably be Octopath 2, because that's the one that I have, like, the least videos for, and I'm most worried about running out of stuff for, which, now that I have more time, I should be able to stay more on top of. Fire Emblem Engage has quite a few videos queued up. I don't need to worry about running out of this anytime soon. However, I still want to commit to this, like, a bit harder than my other game projects, for one key reason, and that is, I want to publish my video going through my whole spreadsheet and stuff, and I'd rather beat the game before I do that, is what I'd like to do. Because then, some of the build ideas that are just in my head, I can properly test out some of the weird, more niche ones, and I only did half my Somniel exploration last time, because I was tired as heck, right? I did, like, the first half of my Somniel exploration, but I didn't do, like, the support conversations, bond conversations, arena, wake-up, stuff like that. Because I was so tired I needed to pass out. I forgot! I only saw the little bond conversations are available, and I was like, oh! Alright, we're starting out with support conversations, stuff like that. A few months of Persona vids, still need to finish that. Yeah, there's no rush on that, but, like, I only have 1 or 2 streams left. I think that there's, like, 11 or 12 in-game days left for the deadline of Maruki's Palace, and I looked it up, like, does the game basically end after you beat Maruki's Palace? And the answer is yes. So I was like, oh, I can probably do it in 1 or 2 streams. Like, maybe 1 longer stream, 2 shorter streams. It's really not a massive ton left, so I should probably do it just to finish it off. But yeah, I'll do some Fire Emblem things here to get closer to finishing that. But yeah, only half as long as a full 3 Houses saga so far. If I do up doing the 2 more routes of 3 Hopes, then that's gonna get far, far, far longer. Man, to think that I was planning on doing the next playthrough of 3 Hopes sometime this year. I don't know if it's happening. Consider doing Hector hard mode immediately after this. And Fire Emblem Fates Conquest, because it's been put off for so dang long. I don't think I'm gonna have time for 3 Hopes this year. Like, even if I did, would there be time? Like, if I'm publishing 1 Fire Emblem video every single day, would there be time left? Because, hold on. If I go to YouTube Studio, how far does this go up to already? Yeah, it might well do. I don't know. I might not even be streaming tomorrow. I'm not entirely certain. Hold on. If I go to YouTube Studio and I look up Fire Emblem, currently this series goes up until June 4th with part 121. Marth's Paralog was part 120, so that was a pretty satisfying number there. So this right now is part 122 going up June 5th. So, like, how much is going to be left to this playthrough? I think that there's, like, a small handful of story chapters left. I think there's... Oh, there's 1 more paralog on the map as well. I was about to hop into the next story chapter, but, yeah. Well, there's still a Lear's paralog. So there's still 1 paralog to go. And then just, like, a small handful of story chapters. Like, 4-ish, I think, story chapters. So we're almost there in terms of the main story. And then there will probably be, like... So let's say there's 5. Yeah, that one there. Let's say there's about 5 left, and each of those is coupled with an exploration segment, which now that I'm running out of conversations with my main cast, I'll probably only have the exploration be 1 part instead of 2. So let's say that's 10. So that brings us to, like, after 122 right now, that brings us to, like, 132. And then plus the Fel Xenologue stuff, this is probably going to be about a 140 to 150 part-ish long series. Something like that. Something like that. 28 base game chapters. And what am I at right now? I cleared 21, right? Or 22? Xenologue is 6 chapters. Okay, and there wouldn't be any Somniel exploration between those ones. So yeah, I'd say that a very fair estimate is this is going to be about a 140 to 150 partish series. We can maybe say 145 to be safe-ish is like my rough estimate of how long this is going to be. So yeah, that's about 30 plus parts for me. That's about another month. So this will go until like mid-July, maybe, you know, later on in July. So does that mean that Hector hard mode is only going to be started in like August or something like that? I don't need to worry about anything like Somniel exploration between chapters of that, just one chapter to the next. And I think I looked it up at one point how many Hector hard mode chapters there are, but I forget. Fire Emblem Blazing Blade chapters. So it should just be one part per chapter there. Probably not, because Blazing Blade is not going to be a 100 plus part series. We already did like the first 12, which is like, you know, all of Lynn's stuff. And that just finished its uploads earlier today, as a matter of fact. So that goes up to chapter 10, and then there's like the prologue and the one paralogue. Hector goes from chapter 11 to chapter 33, but there's like a couple paralogs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paralogs, it looks like. So yeah, that's about roughly 40-ish, you know. So Hector hard mode is probably gonna be plus failed attempts, probably like a 60-ish part series all in all, if I had to guess, like including the stuff from Lynn before. So it's not gonna be as long as something like this, or even Fates, honestly. I don't think. It shouldn't be. It'd be a little bit silly if it was. So, you know, it won't be as long. So if it's around 60-ish parts, it'll be maybe about 2 months. It'll be less than 2 months if we're taking out Lynn's stuff that's already uploaded. So I go from like July to through August until mid-September, maybe end of September, we can say Hector hard mode ends. So it's finally in October that Fate's Conquest starts and goes until the end of the year, probably. So even if I did start another playthrough of Three Hopes this year, I think I would already have like a Fire Emblem video going up every single day before that point, that I wouldn't have space to put in Three Hopes there yet. So I think this really is going to be the year of Fire Emblem on this channel, where ever since the release of Engage here, not going to have missed a single day of uploading a Fire Emblem video every single year. Every single day. Like, my god. And hello, Fidla. Hope things are going well today. And yeah, there was definitely a lot of parts of Three Houses there.
That was a deep sigh. If something is weighing on you, how about a reading with my cards?
I'll pass. I don't believe in things like fortune telling.
Nice, Soren. I don't either. But yeah, we're back to Engage here. What we're working on now, there's one more paralogue, and then there's just the last handful of story chapters. I have a bunch of support conversations right now, though, because I was really tired at the end of last stream, so I called it early, and I was like, let's just do the support conversations at the beginning of next stream. And I almost forgot about that, so I almost went into the next battle. But then the game told me there was bond conversations, I was like, oh yeah!
It's not by any power of mine. It's because you've learned to open your heart.
I do not trust people easily. Somehow it is different with you, though. I can't explain why.
Regardless of the
Yeah,
reason,
everyone trusts
I'm
Corrin,
glad to hear
to the
it.
point that they'll all
I hope we can converse
jump
like
off a
this more
cliff
often.
because she said so. Revelation spoilers. But yeah, Engage and Switch on Live Force yet. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, we've passed the 2-year anniversary of the Fate's Birthright playthrough. Like, I'm fairly certain it was either April 9th or April 10th. I'm fairly certain when I checked the playlist, like the dates on, like the start to finish, since I always put that in the playlist description. It has been over 2 years since the Fate's Birthright playthrough. And I wanted to do Conquest last year, but then, you know, I finished up Three Houses, and then Three Hopes came out, and I was like, oh, okay, Conquest next year. And then Engage came out, and then Switch Online, and it's like, well, I guess I'm doing Engage, and then I'm doing Fire Emblem 7. What the heck? I am doing Conquest this year. It's long overdue. I'm doing it.
We're quite similar.
It's been over 2 years. I can't stop putting it off.
Me?
Or I
Similar to
can't
you?
continue putting it
I'm
off.
completely unworthy. Though we do work well together in battle, perhaps because we give our all to defend our allies and show no mercy to the enemy.
That's right.
Let us continue to visit fierce punishment upon our enemies together.
And you'll be one of my key allies when we do that sometime later this year. But to think that by the time that I start Fate's Conquest, it'll be like 2.5 years later in real life time since starting the Birthright playthrough. Like, my god. That is absolutely insane. I did a lot of conversation stuff here. I guess after going ham on Marth's paralogue there. And yeah, it would be nice if Korn had the red eyes here. Oh well.
You're more than a fighter. You're an excellent strategist.
You're more than a
and
fighter, you're our
commander,
boy.
too. Most impressive.
I had to study hard to be a successful lord. I was schooled at the largest city in my nation.
I've had an eclectic education, but you are proof there are gaps in my lessons.
Well, experience counts for a lot too. There's no classroom like the battlefield.
Question is, what do we do after Fate's Conquest? Do I then do another playthrough of Three Hopes? Or do I play Binding Blade? I'm conflicted! Ah! I'll do some other playthrough before starting Revelations, though. You know, space things out a little bit.
A lot of expectations to live up to, you know? Sometimes it feels so confining.
I think people expect great things from you because they can see just how brilliant you are.
Well, when you put it like that, I think maybe I should work harder to meet those expectations.
That is a good attitude. Though don't forget, your relaxed nature is a good quality too.
Everyone loves Fogado. Guess you'll be forced into Sacred Stones given Switch Online, but that's just an assumption. Might well be. Apparently Binding Blade is coming to Switch Online, but exclusively in Japan. It's like, wow, they're still not localizing it. Amazing. Oh man, what a world. So maybe I do Blazing Blade, then Fate's Conquest, then Binding Blade, then Sacred Stones, and Three Hopes. My goodness, I'm gonna have no shortage of Fire Emblem stuff around here. My good gracious there. Fate's Conquest is the Elden Ring of this channel, as in it was announced and didn't come out till 2 years later. Yeah. Due to external factors here for me. Do I agree with Switch Online? Same. Don't want to pay for a service that used to be free. Yeah. Nintendo's making plenty enough for it. Like, making plenty enough that they don't have to charge for it. But, you know, it's just gaming industry standard now. And like their barely functional online service, they'll inflate the price by putting classic games behind it, like Game Boy as of recently, NES, SNES. But if you want other classic games from later on, like Blazing Blade, you gotta shell out for that expansion pass to essentially rent the game. What's this? You only want to play one singular game within this whole bundle? You still have to pay for the entire bundle. You have to still pay for an entire year minimum. Regular Switch Online, you can pay for like singular months, but the expansion pass, unless they changed it, you can only buy like a full year. So if you just want to play some Zelda Ocarina of Time or something like that, you have to pay for a full year of the expansion pass just to rent it at that point. You don't even own it. You shell out much more than a digital copy of Ocarina of Time is worth by now. Much less than it'd be worth physically, but, you know, talking digitally, shell out much more than a game like that would be worth digitally. And you don't even own it at that point. You essentially just rent it for the year. It's like, are you kidding me? Ugh.
You look scary, but you're actually really nice. I bet you were popular back in your own world.
With those powers of observation, I'm sure you'd have made a great fit for the shepherds.
Yeah, you seem like the type who's happily married and has a kid. Maybe two.
Whoa, that's not just observation. All right, come clean. Who told you all that?
Okay, interesting Bond conversation there. Plus, when they inevitably add the GameCube and Wii, I'll have to play the Tellius Saga. Yeah. Can't wait for that to come around. With all this piling up, I do genuinely wonder, when is the day going to come on my channel from this point onward that I don't have a Fire Emblem video published on my channel? Because right now, it's looking like I'm probably not gonna miss a single day of publishing a Fire Emblem video on my channel for the entire rest of the year. Like, my god. So when is the day going to come that a Fire Emblem video does not go up on my channel? When does that day come around? Yeah, at this point, just end up playing the entire franchise. Oh, man. I do love Fire Emblem. I did have the plan in the back of my head to have gone through a lot of the franchise at some point anyway. But my god, this is so much sooner than expected. I'm not ready, you know? Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Also, when it comes to Blazing Blade, one thing that I do want to mention, because it'll still be a while before the Engage uploads finish, like it's currently the 16th of April and they already go until June. Since it'll be a while before they finish up, since we determined that it would be, what, like sometime in July-ish, maybe late July, I might end up starting Blazing Blade a decent smidge before Engage ends, just to, you know, get a little bit of a handle on it, build up a little bit of a buffer, and also for the reason of having it done before it's added to Switch Online. Even if the videos of it go up after it's added to Switch Online, have the playthrough itself be done before it's added to Switch Online, you know, in that case. But I am gonna wait until I wrap up other things in the game schedule first. Like, I'm not going to start it while there's still other things going on, as much as they are. Luckily, nothing is all too, well, Octopath Traveler 2 is pretty crazy. That's gonna take me a decent while. There's 1 or 2 streams left of this, and probably like 2 or 3 left of this. Last of Us Part 1 is not a long game. I don't know how much there is left gameplay-wise, but from comparing it to the show that I have seen, I know that there's like the last handful of sections left that I can probably do in about 2 streams-ish. So like, you know, I'd get on top of those first, which shouldn't take too long, luckily, and then maybe start Blazing Blade, I don't know. But yeah, some of the Japanese version of the Engage Divine Edition is still in stock at retail price with Amazon Japan. Really? Maybe the Japanese suppliers do not undersupply their collection editions so much as Nintendo of America does. Huh. Interesting. Most of The Last of Us length comes from the PC port breaking. You're not wrong.
It's a sign that I have what it takes to be Queen of Soul one day.
The brand in my eye runs in my family as well. I'm so pleased our royal families share this.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the additional runtime of that series is just the fact that the PC port of that game is so awful. And just crashing and loading and please wait all the time.
Why do we crush beautiful flowers to spill blood?
That may be a little over my head. But I think everyone has a good heart. Deep down, I wish everyone in the world was like you. If they were that kind, there'd be no fighting.
Well, thanks. It's troubling, but training gets my mind off it. Why don't we go for a run?
I should hope that it isn't, like, distracting sight-wise, but I hope things are going well today, Kyle. Also, one fun thing about The Last of Us Part 1, when it breaks in ways that hinder your progress, it's really annoying, but when it breaks in funny ways, that's just funny. I really liked how towards the end of the last stream that I did of it, and it was super late at night that night, and, you know, I was starting to get pretty sleepy. All of a sudden, as I'm trucking through the university, there's this one corner of it that's just, like, sparkly and glowy. There's all sorts of visual glitches that do genuinely hurt my eyes, like, they're very jarring. But that one was just mesmerizing. It was like walking into a nature rave. All the trees were all sparkly, Joel got sparkly.
No one here blames you.
It was so funny.
Certainly not me. You are a precious friend. Never forget that.
It was so weird. It was the sparkly zone of the university. But yeah, Divine Magic so down it affects one's sight. Yeah, could well be the case. Feel bad for the poor exiles the brand on their ass. What a thought there. Last night I heard one YouTuber who is also a developer, Modern Vintage Gamer, estimated that The Last of Us PC port would take about 6 months to be fixed in its current state. Man. Maybe that's what happened there. Why Last of Us Part 1?
You seem like the sort.
Just finish it and release it later.
What are the qualities of a good monarch?
That depends very much on the time and place. Your world is very different from this one, no?
Yes, I suppose so.
There's a lot to consider in answering your question. Fortunately, you have plenty of time.
At least Last of Us only fixes 6-month Pokemon is unfixable. At least there's that. Helen's becoming your favorite character in this game. He's a good lad there. I quite like him as well. Also, what the heck was I about to say? Oh yeah, when it comes to Last of Us Part 1, I imagine that they probably rushed it out on PC to capitalize on the fact that the season 1 of the show recently wrapped up, and they wanted to capitalize on it being like a big trending thing at that point before, you know, people started forgetting about it and you know, then it releases 6 months-ish later or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's a thing there. Like, it's gotta be, right? Speaking of Lennon, how's the insane crit build playing out for you? He crits a whole lot. He doesn't hit super hard right now because I haven't, you know, put a whole lot of levels into him stuff. But, you know, he works well. He does the things stuff. And yeah, there's that too.
Cito, I've heard you're really good at telling fortunes.
I am. Or I guess I should say, I was.
Oh, does that mean you're not good at it anymore?
Well, I guess I'd say I'm in a bit of a rut at the moment.
I didn't realize fortune tellers could get in a rut.
It would seem so. Sometimes you just don't feel it, and it shows in your readings.
I see. Well, I was thinking
So
of
Seedal's
asking you
not
to tell me
shook.
fortune.
Not really
Is
feeling
something
it.
troubling you?
Sort of. I've been very tired lately. I was hoping there might be some special way to fix it.
I see. I'm afraid I can't be of much help right now.
Is there anything you can do to get your fortune-telling powers back?
I don't really know. I think I just have to wait for it to come back when it's ready.
Well, how about you tell my fortune anyway? I won't mind if you get it wrong.
What? But why?
Humor me. I'll just assume your reading is incorrect.
If that's what you want. Let's begin. All is revealed. Go to the market and act like a cat. Good fortune shall be given you back.
Act like a cat? In the market? That's a little bit strange, isn't it?
Definitely strange. I told you I'm all out of sorts. Just pay it no mind. It won't come true.
If you say so.
Bam, support level C. About to say that about the ports kind of a needless self-insecurity. Naughty Dog should understand The Last of Us is so popular as a brand precisely because people never forget or stop talking about the game. I mean, that is fair there. I'm sure that it would have been popular no matter when it released then on PC, but it would have been especially popular after the show wrapped up and all these people that had seen the show and been exposed to the story for the first time from the show, like I was one of. And all of a sudden it's coming to PC and it's like, oh, it's an opportunity to play it.
Prince Alfred, do you understand the implications of what has occurred between us?
Princess Ivy? Can't say that I do.
That first night, you helped me find the way when I was lost. The second time, you gave me advice on how to find peaceful sleep. Much as I am loath to admit it, I am deeply in your debt.
And that's bad somehow?
Of course it's bad. I am the crown princess of Elusia. I cannot show such weakness, especially to a rival nation. Therefore, you must tell me how I can be of assistance to you.
Oh, so you think it should be your turn to help me now, huh?
I need to clear this obligation. That's all.
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm not in any kind of a jam right now.
So you won't let me help you? This is unacceptable. I demand that you be troubled immediately.
The only thing that's giving me trouble is this demand of yours. Look, I don't think of this as a pay me back someday situation. This is just what allies do. When I see you're in a spot, I help out. You don't owe me for that. None of my friends do.
You just trust people? You really are naive.
Guilty as charged. But there's a lot of upsides to being naive.
I suppose I can find inspiration in that. Very well. I will trust you.
Oh, Princess Ivy, that's great!
To be candid, I am glad to have more people I can trust now. When I become queen, it will be a relief to know that at least one of my peers is trustworthy. Thank you, Prince Alfred.
I like that one line of I demand you be troubled immediately. My goodness.
Diamant, is there anything that's troubling you right now?
Wow, this is the
Lady
topic of all
Vale?
the supports, huh?
Why the sudden concern?
I did something awful to you. I want to atone for what I've done, if I can.
You mean my father? You don't need to atone for that. You weren't yourself then.
You're not yourself when you're
I
hungry.
want to make things right.
I see. If I were in your position, I would be offering the same sort of gesture. I have to be honest. Nothing is troubling me at the moment. Though I wonder, Would you be interested in working with me to help other people?
Other people?
As the Crown Prince of Brodia, easing the minds of the people in my kingdom is my job. If you help me alleviate their burdens, I would consider that a great service. What do you say, Lady Vale?
I say yes. I like the sound of that very much. How strange. We walked around town all day long and couldn't find anyone who needed our help.
I'm surprised too. Not a single person was distressed or in need of assistance. I suppose that's an odd thing to be upset about. We should be glad. I'm grateful that today was a good day for my people.
Yes. But that won't help me make up for what I did to you.
Well, not today, no. But how about this? Someday, something will trouble me. When that day comes, promise you'll help me solve it. Will that suffice, Lady Vale?
Yes, it will. Thank you, Diamant.
Support level C. Yeah, it definitely is nice to see Vale trying her best to atone here.
Hortensia, I wanted to tell you that I'd like us to be friends. So, I wonder if we could talk?
I have nothing to say to you.
Oh.
My father is dead because of you. Why would I want to be friends? It doesn't matter to me if you were controlled or whatever, and now you're back to normal. I'll never forget the sight of you laughing as you watched my father die. So please, just leave me alone.
I've wanted so badly to apologize for that.
Elusia should never have allowed worship of the Fell Dragon. His power, though, much as I hate to admit it, I do envy that. If I'd been born with what he has, what you have, my father would still be alive.
Be glad you weren't born a Fell Dragon. It's a life full of fear, pain, and persecution. I wish I had been born human. To me, that life seems so much more bearable.
Yeah, I'm sure it's terrible. Poor thing. We'll never be friends, Vale. Goodbye.
Well, not everyone is on the best of terms, though, it would seem. Oh yeah, and I forgot to do this one the one time, too. That was from, like, a previous exploration, I think.
Ingredients tell me how to cook them.
Yeah, so you've said.
I never disregard their voices. Thus, I have been searching high and low. I have sought out ingredients that ask, indeed beg, to be made into folk food.
Does that mean you found some?
Yes. Look! A shellfish from the ponds of Solm, and some mushrooms unique to the Queendom's forests.
Wow, what a weird color!
And this, a numbing spice. It will stamp out all sensation as soon as it hits your tongue.
A spice that numbs?
You're not scared, are you?
Who, me? I want to try this so bad that I can hardly stand it.
I knew your culinary courage would not falter. Now, behold, the ultimate folk food.
Incredible. That's exactly the kind of careless presentation folk food ought to have.
The splendor does not stop at its presentation. Please, have a taste.
Oh boy, oh boy! Oh my goodness! That spice sure did a number on my tongue. But the sauce brings it right back to life, and the texture is just indescribable! This is what made me fall in love with folk food. If a stall sold it, I'd eat there every day.
It's strange. At first, I was simply moved by your passion for food, but now I see that this was a necessary step on the road to gastronomic expertise. Whether it is served on a porcelain plate or in an unassuming wrapper, good food is good food. Street fare and gourmet food alike can bring joy to their eaters.
Exactly. Thanks, Bonet.
Now, what would you like to eat next?
You mean you'll fix me something else?
I am always happy to take requests from a true food lover.
No kidding! More gourmet quality folk food? I'm so happy I might cry.
Please don't do that. My food and I are not going anywhere.
Yeah, good point. I'll take my time and think carefully. The next folk food I get from you is going to be the stuff of legend.
Legendary food. There we go. Support level A. Also, him mentioning that he was throwing together some mushroom stuff. One cool thing that I can show is the most recent thing that I 3D printed were some Super Mario mushrooms that I think are pretty cool. And they're containers as well. So that's rather neat there. So, and one of the eyes fell out. I should glue them in. They're like the exact size that they need to be to go in there. So they were staying in pretty decently well. But not as well anymore, so I should glue them in and stuff. So yeah, there's that. So I printed out a couple of these. I printed out a green one that I gave to a friend of mine as well, for like the 1-up thing. And one cool thing, are they watertight? I doubt it. I very highly doubt it. Just a super simple 3D printed thingamabob there. I guess one cool real life update that I can give while stuff is going on here is my little 3D printer in the corner. It's actually on like a nice stand now. That's an old wooden table that hasn't been used in a long time. That has been repurposed into like the 3D printing shelf. And then I got some plywood from Home Depot that was, wow, if I can line this up, that's put on the top and bottom because it like just barely went over the edges of the table before. So now it'll properly stay on and the base will prevent it from shaking as much because when it's doing like little details and the nozzle's going like back and forth drawing stuff out, it does a lot of shaking and it risks falling off. But anyway, that helps stabilize it a bit. So it's looking all fancy and like stable and stuff. But last night one of the motors gave out on me. I was drawing out some more of these dots, so they can only print in one color. So these little white dots, I tried printing it in a little transparent, more color. You can't even tell with the lighting, but it's a more transparent whitish. And right as it was finishing the third one of these, one of the motors just started cracking, like going, and it scared the crap out of me while I was here. And like the left vertical motor does not want to work as well anymore. And I don't know why that is. So I am going to have to figure that out. And now my printer is once again kind of out of commission for like the third time in the past couple months. So that's, that's cool there. That's certainly something. No mushroom, oh, you just mean like water getting through? I thought you meant as like the container, like this right here. Because I'm sure that if you submerge this in water, that, water could sneak through like, that way. But if you just mean, is it solid? Like, if you use this alone, if you put water in here, if it could get through, yeah, it would not. You could do a mug if you wanted there. It would be plastic rather than, whatever else you make a mug out of. But most of the plastics that you print with are typically food safe. Food and drink safe. Like, I printed this in PLA, which is like the super cheapo plant-based plastic. The other material that I do a little bit of stuff with PET G is like, PET is the stuff that's used in plastic water bottles and stuff. It's food and liquid safe. And G, the glycol, just makes it easier to print with is all, but it's otherwise the same substance. So, they're food and drink safe. Can you hold liquid and drink out of it? Yeah, you can. Motor issue, I haven't tried anything out with since last night. I mean, what's weird is that while I did some tests, sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. I could always give it like a command here to try out the Z-axis and see if it breaks on me. Is the case. Worst case scenario, tell it to emergency stop. Because I haven't tried it out since last night. I can give it a go, but like, it slightly scares me. Because I don't know how else I'd test it. So like, I could try it. Here, let's give it a go. Z-axis. Oh, yeah. I just hear it cracking over there. I'm gonna tell it to emergency stop. And now its fans are blaring, and that's not great. Ugh. Part of me was just hoping that since it was working sometimes, while I was telling it to do Z-axis stuff last night, and sometimes not, that it would just magically start working today. But nope. Nope, apparently not. I don't think my microphone is picking up how loud the fans are over there right now. Well, yeah, restart. Yeah, I'm very glad that my cousin that built that is someone that I could just reach out to and ask about that kind of stuff at any point. He said that he'd probably have to come over and have a look-see at it. But despite having a lot nicer looking setup back there now and looking a lot more professional with the thing, I still am completely in over my head with it. I have no idea what the heck I'm doing, but thankfully I can ask the person that literally built that machine at whatever point which is very nice there. I'm just looking on OBS here to play the game right now because I have my printer stuff in front of me. There we go, cool. Is it not going to restart? Oh, well, there we go. Should be restarting now. Should well be. Yep. Well, that settles it. Oh, are the lights coming on? I saw, oh, yeah, the lights are coming on. No, that's bright and distracting. Lights off. There we go. Surprised the lights went off successfully first try. Those LEDs get, like, corrupted as the signal goes through a lot of the time. But yeah, that settles it. I'm dragging my cousin over here. I'm being like, what do I do? Why isn't the motor working? You know what?
Do you remember?
It's weird that it works sometimes. At least it had the courtesy to finish the print it was working on last night before it broke. It was as the nozzle was moving out of the way because it finished the print that it broke.
Yes.
So at least it had the courtesy to finish.
I'd accidentally wandered into a skirmish between Brodian and Elusian forces. The whole town quickly became a battlefield. With me caught in the middle. I was terrified. It was you who got me out of there. You saved me.
Oh, I remember that day. We'd gotten reports of Brodia's surprise attack. I went to check on the troops. There was a lone girl who'd gotten left behind. That was you?
It was. I was about to be cut down by a Brodian soldier, but you protected me with magic. You pulled me onto your Pegasus, flew me to safety, and left. Didn't even give me your name. Imagine my surprise when we met for the second time in the Academy's advanced class.
Why have you never mentioned this before?
I was embarrassed. I bring it up now because I want you to know how deeply I respect you.
Thank you. That really means a lot. I'm glad you told me, and for what it's worth, I really respect you too. You put your life on the line to keep me safe. I couldn't ask for a better friend. It doesn't hurt that you're adorable either. Just being near you makes me look good.
You're absolutely right.
Should I take that to mean you won't be leaving my side anytime soon?
Of course. I'm your retainer after all, aren't I? More than that, Hortensia. I'm your friend. I will do anything I can to support you.
Yeah, definitely a different side to Goldmary that I haven't seen in her other supports. Gonna need to figure out someone else to build up support with over here now. Oh yeah, also, when it comes to, you know, them being A-okay food and drink safe, a couple days ago, I went to go see the Mario movie for the second time with a friend of mine and brought in both this and my green one. And the reason why we brought them in is because this was the ultimate way to sneak snacks into the Mario movie. So I still have a few gummies and stuff in here. And, you know, this is how you sneak snacks into the Mario movie, the only right way to do it. So, you know, that was fun. And they fit pretty well into the little theater cup holders and stuff. So, it's like the only time Goldmary wasn't god-awful. Yeah, kind of seemed like that. Feel optimistic at this point in time that Tears of the Kingdom will address your biggest criticism of Breath of the Wild? My biggest criticisms of Breath of the Wild was that the story already happened. You didn't experience a story in the game. You just hear, like, little chapter synopsises of a story that already happened, which I assume will have to be fixed in Tears of the Kingdom because they can't exactly just tell another story that already happened. They have to move forward at this point. So I assume that'll be addressed. Also, Age of Calamity addressed that issue for Breath of the Wild. I did like the story in Age of Calamity. And that the story, or and that the music didn't exist all that much in the world. I don't really have any indication that it's going to change in Tears of the Kingdom. Just like Breath of the Wild, the trailer music is amazing and absolutely slaps. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the soundtrack is going to play a super big part within the game itself, as turned out to be the case for Breath of the Wild. I still find it so funny that they played that one theme in the trailer. It exists almost nowhere in the game, and then comes in suddenly for the final boss, and they have the gall to call it the main theme, when it's really just the trailer theme, because it barely exists in the game. Anyway, we shall see. Right now, my biggest concern with Tears of the Kingdom is that I'm worried that the world will feel too samey. Even with, like, the floating islands and new structures and stuff like that, it's still mostly the same world as Breath of the Wild, from what I can see. my biggest concern right now is, like, what if it feels too samey? What if it feels like I'm just exploring the same world over again and slightly different? I'm really hoping that, you know, knowing Zelda's game quality, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, there is a lot in the mix there that really does help set it apart. So here's hoping. But right now, that's honestly my biggest worry. But we shall see. How about I share a meal with Pandrio? Is what we can do. Let's do that. And then... sure. Onion. We can do that. Let's put in a rare fruit. There we go. It's okay if I ask your opinion on the Mario movie, or prefer to wait in case you spoil it for viewers. Now, I've talked about it already during things like AC Origins without getting into spoilers. I liked it. I didn't think that it was like a perfect masterpiece or anything like that. You know, it's pretty simple, like you'd expect a Mario plot to be. But it's just a really fun, feel-good movie. And honestly, on watching it the second time, I noticed things that I didn't notice the first time. There's a lot of really fun little references. Like around the beginning of the movie, there's this pizzeria that the characters are in. And I only noticed on this second time watching that it was the Punch-Out Pizzeria. And there's all these pictures on the back that are all the characters from Punch-Out and stuff. And it's like, what? How did I not notice that before? You know? So... I really like all the little references like that. That was really fun. There's a lot of really, like, fun little moments of just, like, stupid shit. And, you know, over-the-top, unexpected, stupid shit is the kind of thing that cracks me up the most. So it did not go unappreciated on me. There was some really fun things there. One of my cousins that I went and saw it with when I went and saw it the first time told me that he wasn't sure whether that Bowser was made for Jack Black or whether Jack Black played for 120 hours. It's more than that when you count my resets. Whoops. Definitely more than that when you count the resets and stuff. Anyway, or whether Jack Black was made for that Bowser. And, you know, he had a bit of a point. Those two are so fitting, Jack Black and that Bowser. It was amazing. And Chris Pratt's Mario... I still feel like I might have preferred Charles Martinet, but, you know,
see any ingredients here.
Chris Pratt wasn't as bad as within the trailers. I don't know if they just used, like, the worst takes in the trailers or what was going on. He actually wasn't that bad.
The bed. They're not ingredients per se.
Like, partway through, I began to forget that it was even Chris Pratt doing Mario there. I just saw it as, like, this is Mario. This is what he sounds like in this context. It was actually pretty good there. Peach has got to be one of the best characters. I feel like Peach was really well done. It was really neat there. All the characters were just, like, really fun, honestly. My biggest complaint is probably just that it's too short. Like, everything goes by at a lightning-quick pace, and it doesn't really feel like it's given much time to explore any one given area, subject, or idea. It would have been cool to see us, like, further delve into this stuff. Like, for example, it's probably not too spoilery to say that one of the main key plot points is that because Bowser's coming to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom, Peach decides that they need to go over to the Kong Kingdom and get the help of, like, the Kongs and stuff. And as she treks out with Mario, there's a compilation showing all these areas of the Mushroom Kingdom, and then all of a sudden, they're there. They've made it to the Kong Kingdom. Why can't I words today? They could have absolutely taken some time to actually explore these areas. There's a scene where they're, like, chatting in that area with the fire flowers and stuff, but they didn't really get much of an opportunity to really explore these areas. It's just like, here's these little brief few second shots of these really amazing looking areas that we designed, you know? But without taking the time to really explore them. So the movie was pretty short. And it feels like they could have used that as a means to, like, make it be a little longer, because it felt like it went by a little bit too fast, you know. But yeah, Charles Martinet's character being at the beginning and end was neat. Yeah, and what was really crazy is the first time I watched the movie, I caught it in the I caught Charles Martinet in the beginning, but I didn't notice him at the end, and I noticed him at the end the second time I watched it. It made me laugh. All right, what kind of level up are we getting here, huh? Meh. Well, it's something. Magical help you in Mage Knight and stuff. Also, when it comes to Charles Martinet, I can't believe that the last time I talked with Charles Martinet, he was telling me all about the downfall of the US and Russia. I still never got around to reading those books that he recommended me, but now that this university semester is largely wrapped up, and I have time for things like that, I might get to that. Maybe. Or maybe I'll end up waiting until the next university semester where I just, like, read that as my thing that I start reading on the train to and from uni. I mean, I'll still be going to and from uni for work, so maybe I'll, start reading some of those because I don't have a book to read right now. So maybe I'll read my, Mario recommended political books. So, you know, there's that. Yeah, I can start reading the 2 books that he recommended to me there. I haven't told that story during Fire Emblem yet. I know I told it during Splatoon 3 and some other playthrough that was going on at the time. I can tell the short version of the story here. Oh, wow. A bunch of no damage, huh? Chris Pratt proving to be a baffling casting, like you wouldn't mind Martinet being subbed for someone like you wouldn't mind Martinet being subbed for someone with far more star power, but seriously, Chris Pratt's the best you could come out. Yeah, it does still feel pretty strange. Like, I wouldn't say that he was an amazing, standout, masterful Mario or anything like that, but, like, it was alright. Like, he did it pretty alrighty. It wasn't god-awful, it wasn't amazing, it was just, that was pretty alrighty. And it did feel like he did the best with the role that he could, is what it did feel like. Like, he did give it his all, from what I could tell. But yeah, anyway. Hold on. I'm about to start the next battle. Should I just, tell this story at the beginning of the next battle? How about I do that? I'll tell the story of the of Charles Martinet recommending political books to me as we do this. How about? Yeah, let's see here. Paralog Garden of Memes! A mysterious light is enshrined in a place that feels similar to the Lithos Castle Gardens. Lithos, I believe it's actually pronounced. Actually. Let's begin this chapter.